This is the plaintiff, Quentin Thompson. He says the defendant is his ex-girlfriend who went back to her husband, then kicked him out of the house they once shared. She then moved her husband into his house, and he's here suing her for the rent of $2,500 she owes him. This is the defendant, Danielle. She says she told the plaintiff to leave because he was a very irresponsible guy who did drugs when her kids were home, and she couldn't have that. Bottom line, the plaintiff damaged the house. She owes him nothing and thinks the judge will agree. She's accused of being wishy-washy. The defendant filed a countersuit for $2,631.96 for additional repairs.
All parties, please raise your right hands. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, you are suing Ms. Danielle, your former girlfriend, according to you, for $2,500 that you want returned to you that you paid for an apartment that she kicked you out of. And Ms. Danielle, you are counterclaiming against him some repairs to your truck, to your doors, and to a wall, because according to you, he doesn't know how to drive and he's violent. Okay, let me hear from you first, Mr. Thompson.
How you doing, Judge? First off, let me say that Danielle and I were really good friends starting out. We did try to have a relationship. That didn't work out. But we did say that we were going to continue to help each other in a time of need. When I met Danielle, she was, her housing situation was compromised. I'll say it that way. Her husband was not around at the time. So during that time, she met my aunt. My aunt grew fond of her and offered to allow her and her 3 children to come to the house that we were staying in. During the time that she was there, it was an understanding that once she get on her feet that she would find a place to stay. Well, during that time, we got close. Our friendship grew stronger, and we moved out of my aunt's house. In the process of moving out, we were trying to find a house for both of us to stay in. But I had the finances to move into the house at the time. So I went ahead, withdrew the money that it took to move into the house that she found. Once we moved into the house.
And the amount of money that it took was $2,525?
Yes, ma'am.
And why? That represented what? First month? Last month?
And the security deposit.
Okay. And the rent was $750, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then a security deposit of an additional $275, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So it was a total of $2,525.
Correct.
All right. Now, your understanding is that she was supposed to pay you half. Well, did she pay you half?
No, ma'am. She did not give me anything on that.
All right. You guys move in there when?
And we moved in at the very end of August, like around August 27th, but the rent didn't start until September. We paid for September, October, November, and December. Those are the months that that I actually paid.
Okay, but I've looked at your bank accounts and I see a payment of exactly the amount I said earlier, $2,525. That's all you've provided. That's 3 months' rent plus the security.
Correct.
So where's the fourth month? Proof of the fourth month is where?
The landlord would not provide me with a receipt for the last 2 months of rent that was paid.
Okay, so you have the proof that you have. What ends up happening? She asks you to leave when?
It was my understanding that her husband was coming back into her life, and he didn't want me around his kids.
Ooh, okay. And where did you get that understanding?
She told me this.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. So she says to you, you need to leave. I'm trying to patch things up with my husband. And you leave. You get all your stuff out in December. You leave in November. You get your stuff out in December?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Ms. Danielle, and were you both on the lease?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Ms. Danielle, what's going on here? He says he paid all this stuff in advance and, you know, he's not getting to reap the benefit of it because you didn't pay your half. And then you kick him out.
That's not the case at all.
Okay, what is the case?
When we first found the place where I found it, And we both, the day they was paid, the person I have in the waiting room can vouch for what I'm saying. We both sent it back and forth because Chime and
I have no
Cash App
idea what
has
you're
a
saying.
limit.
Were you supposed to be splitting the rent with him?
Yes.
Okay. And did you pay any rent in September, October, November, or December?
Yes.
Okay. Where's your proof of payment?
We both worked together to pay it because, like I said, Chime has a limit. Cash App has a limit of how much you can take off your card. So we kept trying to send it back and forth between the two of us to get it to the landlord.
Do you have any evidence that you paid the landlord on any Cash App that you're talking about, which is an app that allows you to move money? Do you have any evidence that you paid the landlord anything or that you gave him money for rent?
Yes. I have.
Give it to me because I haven't seen it.
Not on me right now, but.
Oh, now is
I
when
have,
we're having a trial. So now would be a really good time to have evidence.
But that's why I brought in a witness.
A witness? How is your witness going to say what you paid? How is your witness going to?
Because she's been with us all year long.
I know, but stop. If you paid with a Cash App, I want to see the proof that you paid in a Cash App. Why would that be so hard? Why wouldn't you just give me the proof from the Cash App that you paid? Because you know how to do that, because I do see.
I sent you what I have on my new phone. My old phone has my old Cash App from last year.
It's not a phone.
I have a new Cash
all
App
you
account.
have to do is log in with your new phone into your Cash App, my friend. That's how it's done. You just log in your new phone into your Cash App.
I started a new one because I didn't have that card no more or anything. So I started a new Cash App and my stuff was getting hacked.
Okay, so you have zero proof that you, I do see, see, you did provide some proof of payments at some point.
Right. Us sending it back and forth. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but it's $42, so that's for something else. $100 for love, $800 for love. Oh, these are from him. Okay.
Right, we kept sending them back and forth. And I asked the lady, did she want me to send the rest of them?
You sent $30. I mean, these are not for rent. Rent is a specific amount. I know what the amount is. So the answer is you do not have proof that you paid anything for rent.
That's from the time we was moving in.
Okay, that's lovely. Do you have any proof that you paid any rent or security deposit ever? Is the answer no?
Yes.
Other than your witness?
Yes.
Okay, so now let me see,
Yes.
let me hear from your witness. Hi, can you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is your name?
Janetta.
And what is your relationship to Ms. Danielle?
I'm her babysitter.
Okay, so how would you know who paid the rent if you're her babysitter?
Okay, when I was staying with Danielle. Danielle was paying for everything that was going on. The rooms that was having when the house.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Stop a second. Did he pay $2,525 to the landlord?
Yes.
Okay.
But
but what?
Okay, so what I remember was, I'm not sure about Danielle and how it is, but I remember I was in the car. They made transactions. It was a certain amount that you could take off on the ATM. So Danielle and him decided that they was going to put their money together and they would just transfer from his card because Danielle's card kept on getting hacked. Money kept being sent to somebody else to a cash out. So they took the money off her card and put it on him. They transferred. I don't know where her evidence is for that, but I remember that because
that's a problem, guys, because all you got to do is go to your bank account, okay? Even if you don't remember your password for the Cash App, if you go, the money comes from somewhere. It comes from a bank account, and you don't need a password for your bank account. So I would expect to see some proof of what you are saying. It's simple. Now, you have a counterclaim against him, and the counterclaim against him is because he damaged your car, damaged the doors in the apartment, and you're worried you're going to get charged for that, and a hole in the wall. So I'm going to ask Ms. Danielle, tell me about that.
Well, when he didn't have access to my car, and I tell him no, and he get irritated and go upstairs and stand on the doors and stuff. Or he'll just toss something down the stairs. And part of it hit the wall and put a hole in the middle wall on the staircase.
Okay. Did you end up making a hole in the wall on the staircase, Mr. Thompson?
Your Honor, let me say this. First of all, I'm not a violent person. So that claim is just totally irrelevant. I know I'm going kind of off the beaten path, but I've never damaged anything in that house.
Did you
Nothing.
make a hole in the wall by accident?
I did do that when I was moving her children's furniture into their room. And the hole was superficial.
Do you have a picture of the hole? Because I see a picture of the damaged
sent it in.
doors. Yeah, I see a picture. I see pictures of what you say are the damaged doors. I do not see pictures of the hole. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can.
Your Honor, can I say something while you're looking for those pictures?
No, please hold on. I'm in the middle of something.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Danielle, I'm looking through your file and I cannot find pictures of any hole in the wall. You have submitted many pictures of the door. Were you slamming doors, Mr. Thompson, and breaking things by? I mean, were you when you slam a door hard enough, you do start cracking the door. Were you doing that?
Your Honor, those doors the pictures of the doors that you showed her are to her children's rooms. What am I doing in her
How
children's
old are your children?
3, 8, and 9.
Okay. I don't know how you can tell which door it is because they're so close up. I mean, I don't know how you are able to say that. And you're asking him to pay you $2,000 for the doors?
It's gonna cost. They have to replace the trim in it, and I have to pay somebody to do it.
Okay.
But the landlord said he's gonna charge me to do it.
Did the landlord say he was going to charge you $2,000?
No, he said I have to find somebody, or he's gonna charge me.
You just got that off the internet. Okay. And now your truck repair. You are saying that he ruined your truck. How did he ruin your truck?
My rotors got messed up due to him driving across town with the emergency brakes on.
How do you know that?
Because he admitted to it.
No, I did not. She does not.
Okay.
She seldom let me use her truck.
You steal my truck.
She seldom let me use it.
Can I ask you, why did you guys break up, Ms. Danielle?
We wasn't together. We broke up. We stopped. Our friendship ended because of the living situation, and it wasn't a safe environment for me or my kids.
Why wasn't it a safe environment?
Just habits that he has. I could have lost my kids if he would have stayed around. And waking up and not knowing where my child is.
What habits does he have?
He has a drug habit.
Was he doing it in front of your kids?
My daughter caught him once.
That's a lie. I don't do drugs around them kids, and you know it.
If you guys were supposed to split the rent, then that means that if the rent is $750, each of you is responsible for paying $375. I have seen proof by way of the plaintiff's bank accounts that he paid $2,525. That represents 3 months' rent, September, October, and November. Okay? You say that the landlord didn't charge September. Do you have any proof that the landlord didn't charge September?
Oh, he did charge for September. He didn't charge for the end of August.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. So I see then that he paid 3 full months' rent, which means that you would owe him the money from the rent that represents your half. Also, because you kicked him out, he wants the security deposit because you stayed in the apartment. So why should he have to pay the security deposit or forfeit any of it? You were saying to me, well, Judge, he damaged all this stuff. And I need to have proof that he damaged all that stuff. If you have a house with a bunch of kids and you're just showing me close-up pictures of doors that are damaged, and then you're going on the internet and grabbing the figure 2,000, I don't really call that proof. So, based on my calculations, I see from your bank account, Mr. Thompson, that you paid $2,525. Ms. Danielle, you can't just come to court and say, oh, I paid him my half, and then not pony up one scintilla of proof. The only Cash App stuff you showed don't have anything to do with rent. From that amount, I have to deduct from that amount. You can't just get all your money back because you lived there. So I am deducting from that total amount you paid the $275 security deposit plus all those months worth of rent that she can't prove she paid you. So that means a net judgment on your lawsuit against her of $1,025. And on your counterclaim against him, I do not find that you have proven that by a preponderance of the evidence, which is your burden. So the net judgment in this case will be in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,025.
So it worked out for the plaintiff, but not for the defendant in this case. Danielle, you were countersuing for $2,600. You don't get anything on that, but you owe him $1,025. How you feel about that?
Irritated because I shouldn't have to pay for him getting government assistance to pay the lights or rent or anything. And I had to call the police 1,000 times on him just to keep him away because of his habits. So it's kind of crazy.
All right. Mr. Thompson, you were asking for $2,500. You know she had to take some of that money away from you, so you got $1,025. That's better than nothing, right? You're getting something. You okay with that?
Well, I'll just be honest. I'm more upset that our friendship is over with and ended the way it did and the way it is about to end now.
You know, I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, it really is over for sure now, right?
Here's the thing, sir. I'm not the type of person to hold grudges. I'm human. She's human. People make mistakes. So I'm not going to allow myself to have any animosity towards her over what happened. When we met, we were two people who needed each other. We helped each other. Some situations came into play. She no longer needed me.
So now you move on, right?
Hey, best way I can.
Okay. All right. Congratulations then. And that'll bring the case to a close. Harvey?
Okay, Doug, this is yet another situation where the judge has to figure out, did the tenant pay rent? And this seems so basic, but we see this over and over and over again. If you are a tenant and you have to pay rent, never pay in cash without getting a receipt. Ever. And frankly, I wouldn't pay in cash at all. Money order, a check, you have a hard copy of something. You don't want them saying, oh, we forged some receipt. But you need some proof you paid, because if the landlord says, I never got the money, you're going to be out of luck.
Hey, John, do you speak any Spanish around the house, and do your 3 daughters speak Spanish?
I would say that around the house, hablamos español de vez en cuando, okay? Not all the time, just once in a while. And our 3 daughters do speak excellent Spanish. Yeah. It was their first language growing up because we went out of our way to speak only Spanish to them until they got a hold of that Barney stuff. And
right, and then they started leaps and bounds speaking English, and we're like, oh, it's so cool, they're interactive, let's talk to them.
You lose control once they start watching TV. But it's funny, our youngest, Sophia, her English was so limited, and she went to be interviewed to go to an elementary school. She couldn't
she got interviewed at the age of 3, but
right.
Okay.
But she couldn't really do the interview in English, so her sister kind of helped out, right?
Yeah, that Christy interpreted for her.
Her oldest sister kind of helped out.
But we've always made them, like, we've always seen to it that they continued their studies in Spanish, and then they're pretty fluent, and they speak to their grandmother who has really lost her command of the English language.
Definitely.
They speak to her in Spanish.
And, I'm really grateful that my father kind of directed me towards Spanish when a lot of my friends were all taking French. He kind of saw the writing on the wall back in the 70s and said, really, we're going to have a much bigger immigrant population in this country that speaks Spanish even then. And he was like, this is the language you need to learn. This is the one that's going to be spoken more in the United States. So I'm grateful for that.